given that you're a philosopher and you've dealt with this problem extensively, the problem of evil, how did that kind of play into how you kind of saw the Nabeel situation, or how you understood the situation and that sort of thing, being that he was a Christian who converted and then he, passed away he was a Muslim who converted to be a Christian and then he passed away years later. How did you kind of come to understand that?
Well, this came up lots of times, both while Nabeel was dealing with cancer and then after his death, that lots of people were pointing out, hey, wouldn't it be amazing if God healed Nabeel? Look at the sign that would be to Muslims around the world. So people were saying that, and I grant that would be an amazing sign to people around the world. And then after he died, there were lots of people who were responding to that in a profoundly unchristian way. One guy said, I prayed for Nabeel, and when God didn't heal him, I cursed God. And I was like, gosh, dude, if you hadn't cursed God over that, you were going to curse God over something, because if God doesn't do things the way you think that God should do them, then you're just not going to make it as a Christian. So we have these issues. Basically, why do these kinds of things, cancer, happen to someone like Nabeel? And you can see the point here. I mean, Nabeel, he was only a Christian for 12 years, and he put out 3 books. He got multiple degrees. He was working on his doctorate at Oxford, was going to put out multiple other books. And if he had 40, 50, 60 years left, I mean, that guy might have like 20 or 30 books, could have had a much more massive impact on the world. And so if someone's going to get cancer, why is it going to be Nabeel? And I think there are lots of sort of speculations that we can put forward. There are lots of things that we can say as Christians, maybe this or maybe that. I think the only thing we can say with certainty is we still live in a fallen world, right? This is a fallen world where people die. Babies die, babies get diseases, people get cancer, young people get cancer, old people get cancer, people in between get cancer. And so we are not in heaven yet. And so this world isn't perfect. Things aren't going to go the way we think they should in this world. I think that's all we can say with certainty, biblically. But with that said, there are other things involved here. Like when someone's saying, hey, wouldn't that be a miraculous sign to Muslims around the world? I'd already been dealing with that kind of question for years. This doesn't just come up in philosophy. It also comes up, you see this in the book of Job. People aren't familiar with the book of Job. The kind of main takeaway is that Job was the most righteous man around, and God was blessing him. God was just showering Job with blessings. And Satan, the accuser, comes forward and says to God, why is Job serving you? Is he serving you because he's really righteous, he's really good, or is he serving you because he gets lots of stuff, right? Things go really well for Job when he serves you. That's a fair question, right? I mean, was Job serving God just because he was getting lots of stuff, or was he serving God because God is God and Job understood his place? And so the only way of figuring out the answer to that question was for Job to go through all kinds of horrible things that other people in the world might go through, and then to see how he responds. So that's the point of the book of Job, that you don't, as long as God is just blessing people who do great work, if God is just blessing people who do great work, how do you know why they're serving God? Is it to get lots of stuff and have God bless them, or is it because they really care about serving God? So there's that, and that's all the way in the Old Testament. But take that idea and apply it to an entire religion. Suppose you became Christian and nothing bad ever happened, or nothing really bad happened, or you didn't get cancer. Let's suppose it was just that. You become a Christian, you don't get cancer. Other things might happen, but you don't get cancer. You say, hey, it makes sense to think, hey, that would be a great sign to the world. Wouldn't that be great if you became a Christian and God never allowed you to get cancer? And that really makes sense to lots of Christians. But think a little further there. If you became a Christian and it made you somehow immune to cancer because God always protected you from cancer, why would people be converting to Christianity? be converting to Christianity to avoid cancer, not because Jesus is Lord, right? You're not going to be doing it because you love God and you want to serve God. You'd be doing it out of selfishness, right? You'd be doing it to get something in return. And so is that, is that conversion, is that conversion the same sort of thing as someone who converts because he acknowledges who God is and wants to serve God? I don't think it is. So, we come up with these things as Christians and we think, hey, it would be great if God did this, not really thinking about the implications. And the implications of a religion where God protected you from all harm or something like that would be that people wouldn't be converting to this religion to acknowledge Jesus as Lord. They would be converting to this religion to protect themselves from diseases and so on. And so, just to be clear, I believe in miracles, and we believe that God gives miracles as signs to people. That's the resurrection. But there has to be this kind of balance where God has established enough miracles to show that Jesus is Lord and that we need to honor and obey Jesus as Lord, but not so much that the reason for becoming a Christian would be because now you don't get diseases.